if you don't cultivate, work on what God has given you, that God-given talent, ability, that gifting, that passion that you have within you, that purpose that you know you were created for, if you don't cultivate that, you won't think that it's worthy of celebrating. You will look at it and think, listen, this is just what everybody else is doing. This is coming so easy to me. This is nothing great. You have to listen to this episode because we're about to get into it. That is Joe.
And that is Marion. And I am a podcast pro.
Did you say pro, Joe?
I said pro. I
You
said pro.
said pro.
I did.
Pro. P. Purposeful. Listen, you have to be intentional with the things that you do. Listen, even if you're resting with the purpose of rejuvenating. You need to be intentional with the things that you do. You need to be resilient. That R in pro is resilient. You need to be resilient. You need to look at your failures to identify the areas of improvement. They're not, it doesn't mean that you'll never be able to do it. It just means you didn't do it right then and there. Listen, you need to be outstanding. Outstanding to do the things that you're afraid of. Standing out as your unique self. Go ahead, Joe. What we getting into today?
So you've already teed it up, as you always do, so eloquently, so beautifully. So we are continuing where we left off the last time. So we started off in our I Just Want to Be Successful two-parter. And we started off talking about how you have to curate, especially taking it from comparison to curating, pulling everything together to make it make sense for you. And then you have to cultivate, you have to plant certain seeds along the way in order to grow things, make them bigger, and just make it make sense. Also continue to make it make sense for you as you grow. Because the thing is, you have to give yourself the room to grow in this thing. And that's a perfect segue into, as you said, the most important part of it, celebration. A lot of times, I always think about the thing when people say, if somebody doesn't know how to take a compliment and they just tell somebody, hey, just take the compliment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And really, when somebody tells somebody to take the compliment, they're really telling somebody, celebrate yourself.
Yes.
Like, you're awesome. You are awesome for all of these different reasons. Whether the reason could be a surface reason, like, hey, you're looking great today.
That
part.
What
I'm saying? Like, I mean, your glow is glowing, your hair is hairing.
Come
on now.
What I'm
saying? Like, your clothes are clothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Just be cool with who you are.
Yeah.
Be cool with where you are. Be cool with how you are. It's all of this, like, just being able to pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? I'm doing great.
I like that you said be cool with who you are. Do you know that people look at their uniqueness? You know what? I'm going to make this personal. When I used to look at my uniqueness, I didn't see it as uniqueness. I thought of it as odd, awkward. Just I gave it words that in my definition of those words weren't great.
Yeah.
So I can't say that everybody's definition of awkward and weird aren't a positive definition, but my definition of looking at my uniqueness was not, I didn't think of it as unique. I thought of it as awkward, weird, different.
Yep.
I would literally have people say, I thought something was wrong with you. But now I just know that that's my uniqueness. I have a very positive disposition. I've literally had someone look at me and say, I thought you were on drugs. All these years, I really thought you must have been. There's no way that without fail, every day, through everything, you have a smile on your face,
Wow.
a positive disposition, and
Yeah.
a positive outlook
Mhm.
on what's going on. It just floored me that that's what that person saw. When I looked at that person, I always thought, wow, their glasses, the lens that they're looking at life through, it's a victim pair of glasses. The lenses are very dark.
Yeah.
So it that just noticing that turning what I thought was weird, different. Why am I like this? And the thing is, I got it from my mama, just watching her as a kid. Like, why she gotta say hi to everybody?
Yeah.
Why does everybody have to conversate with my mama? I'm with my mama. Y'all don't need to talk to her.
Mhm.
Why does she need to approach it's just those things about ourselves that I have to say I got it honestly. I am my
Mhm.
mother's daughter.
Yeah.
I got it honestly. My smile, when people tell me your smile, I love your smile. I'm like, I'm gonna tell my mama. I get it from my mama. That is exactly how my response, even if it's just audibly inside of myself. But that unique, you just said a key word, and I think that I don't want people to think it's just being used frivolously.
Right.
No, it takes a confident person to look
Mhm.
at their selves and say, you know what, that's unique.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with the fact that I smile. There's nothing wrong that I have a sunny disposition. I'm not weird. There's nothing wrong with me. Just you saying that, I'm sorry, it sparked in my soul.
It's all
That
good.
that sparked for me. That's very big on celebrating yourself and
Mhm.
seeing yourself as a success. Just that one thing, accepting who you are. Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yes, because that's the beginning of that's the like you said, that's or you alluded to, that's the beginning of your success. If you can't start with you,
Woo.
then how are you going to start? If you can't say
Mm,
if you can't celebrate what makes yourself awesome, then how are you going to be able to sell a podcast where you are the host, you are the lead dog in this thing? And it's like, well, they're not really giving me I'm not getting confidence from this
yeah,
person. I'm not getting self-assurance.
yeah.
I'm not getting somebody who really believes the words that come out of their mouth.
Mm,
So it's important for like, I mean, what you just said, like I think that story was important for people to understand that that's a huge amount of where you have to begin in terms of one of the first things. It was a perfect segue into the first thing that we're going to get into with this, and that is you got to check yourself.
yeah.
You
Before you
gotta check.
wreck yourself.
You know that's the automatic thing. If you say you gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself, you better check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. You know those of us in a certain age group. You already know that's what we thinking.
You know what it is. You know what it is.
but seriously, like you really have to say, you know what? Things are not going to be perfect.
Eh,
I'm not perfect.
eh,
Marion's not perfect. None of us
eh.
are perfect. You know what I mean? Like we're not that. We seek perfection. There's the difference, and that's where the reality comes in. There's nothing wrong with seeking perfection, but there's also something wrong when perfectionism handcuffs you, when it causes you not to be able to move forward. Because I mean, it really brings us back to the beginning of why we even started this thing in the first place. And that's a lot of times the hardest part for people to do is start it because they're so stuck in perfectionism. But if you remove that from your way of thinking, if you say to yourself, you know, there are going to be these bumps and bruises. It's you have to get to the point where you're okay with the bumps and bruises that you take along the way when it comes to being successful with your podcast, when it comes to being successful with your radio show, your TV show, your media venture, whatever it might be. Just straight up as an interviewer, no matter what it is, you have to take perfectionism out of the equation because it will cripple you to the point where you are not productive. And the thing is, when it comes to anything that you do, productivity is the key. And at the very root of the word of productivity is product. You have a product. You are putting something forth for people to consume. And we always talk value in the consumption. You have to make it so that if you are able to celebrate yourself and say, I don't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to go right off the bat, because it's not going to go right off the bat. It's off the bat. It's the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It's like expecting a bird who's learning how to fly like all of the eagles, the falcons, the condors, you know, all of these big gigantic birds. Like, no, you got just baby steps.
You said learning how to fly. That's the part I think we miss along the path of celebrating success, is that we are learning.
Yes.
And learning is evergreen.
Yes.
That is something you will be doing. Guess what you're going to be doing the day you die? Learning how to die. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Learning is evergreen. The day you pass away, you're going to be learning things. You're going to learn. All of a sudden, people have said, you're going to start to go, I should have hugged this person. I should have did this. I should have told them that. Oh my goodness, my kids, I didn't tell them everything that I want them to know before I go. Oh my goodness, all of that. So just stay in the moment.
Yes.
Stay in the moment. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you said something about the pace of how you're doing so that you don't have regret, which unfortunately, everything, you're going to have some of everything. People will say, oh, I have absolutely no regrets. Oh, I have absolutely no fear. Oh, I have absolutely no guilt about anything. That's not anybody who's a human. Can you raise your hand? Because that's not true.
Right.
That's not a true statement or representation of life's experience. Pace yourself. In success, you want to pace yourself. If you pace yourself, it will be so much easier to look up and look around and celebrate what you've done.
Yep.
What you've done in failing and then realizing, wow, I should have did it this way. Maybe next time, don't do this. And then guess what? Next time it comes around and you do it this way. And don't do this. Celebrate. Yep. Celebrate what you remember to do. Celebrate what you remember, guess what, not to do. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Celebrate the boundaries, the goals, the aspirations that you have for yourself, but take that big thing and break it down really small and pace yourself.
That's right.
Success is something that you have in each and every day. Joe, today, what's something that as you lay your head down today, you're going to be like, thank you, God, I did that. This was something, a step in something I needed to do because I paced myself. So I already have that list and I broke it down to incremental things that will really help push me towards the big. What is something that today, as you lay your head down, it's like, okay, I need to make sure this is something I'm able to go, okay, I did that.
Well, I mean, what we're doing right now, literally what we are doing right now. Like a lot of people don't realize, and I won't tell all the tea or spill all the tea, but the bottom line is, like, when it comes to like what we're doing, like we've had to pace ourselves. We've had to look ahead and say, okay, we want to make sure that we are constantly presenting content to people, that we want to make sure that we're not taking breaks off, you know, and even in the planning stages of what we do.
Yeah.
There are some, we have some stumbling blocks along the way where it's like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Even like just us planning one of these shows, like this is what we go through. But the beautiful thing about it, especially when it comes to us and our dynamic, is that we don't let, even if we get stumbled or if we get set back for just a small little bit, the beauty of partnership is that I have a partner with me who helps me when I stumble. And Marion has a partner with her who helps her when she stumbles, to the point where it's like, okay, if we try to do this on our own, we would stumble a whole lot more by ourselves, and which is perfectly fine because you just might be by yourself. But if you're working with somebody, it helps you out even more because it keeps you sharp. And so it helps me to pace myself when I have somebody that, even if my pace might be a little fast sometimes, Marion helps to slow me down. Or if my pace might be a little slow sometimes, Marion helps to pick me up. You know what I'm saying? It helps me to get up to speed, so to say. So, but I'm able in that process to celebrate the fact that, one, I'm not doing this all on my own. Two, I have a partner who is equally yoked in this thing as I am. And so that's something worth celebrating, that like we help each other to pace ourselves individually and collectively.
Oh, individually and collectively. That sounds like point three, Joe.
Yes.
Surround yourself. Listen, so it doesn't mean that you have to have a co host, but you should have your pod or person that you go to that you can bounce ideas off of,
Yes.
that you can cultivate your episodes with.
Mhm.
That you can, go and say, can you look at this? Look at these last 3 episodes. Tell me which one from your perspective looks like, wow, yeah, I like it when you do it like this. I
Yeah.
like it when they do it like, I'm sorry.
Don't take her back to the club. Don't take her back to the club real quick. You about to have some people telling on themselves in the audience real quick. You about to have me telling on myself real quick.
Oh my goodness, that was funny. That was funny. But that's how just celebrating. That celebration really does cultivate in who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
So it doesn't even mean that you have to have a co-host, or if you go on as a guest, that you have to have a co-guest, or if you're presenting, that you have to have someone presenting with you. But you should have your crew, your team, your inner circle of people that will give you that truth. Let me tell you something. If I want to know, if I want somebody to look at something for me, from what I got on to what I'm saying to what I've already said,
Yeah.
if I call my sister, she gonna give me that low down dirty shame. What? She gonna tell me the real. I already know. So you have to have your people. You have to watch who you surround yourself with,
Yes.
because if you surround yourself with people that minimize your value, that ignore your value,
Mhm.
that don't feed your value, it will negatively impact your ability to celebrate out loud.
Yes.
Because you
Yeah.
should have. I don't sit here and tell you all, oh, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. But as soon as we talk again, like, Joe, I remember that I was ready with the pro when it was time for the pro.
Mhm.
He helps me to stay on cue and stay on time, just like he was talking about timing, but he helps me to be able to get the titles. It's so simple. I know we keep going back to the title, but even the title of the episode, you wouldn't think that's not challenging. That's not something that's going to be hard, but it
It
is
is.
when you're trying to do it with a great purpose, to call someone to push play and have a positive impact on their life,
Absolutely.
their business, their communication, their relationships, everything. You have to be able to look at the things that you do from small to big, step by step by step, and
Yes.
celebrate them. You
Yes.
you want to celebrate yourself. You want to celebrate the things that you decide to do and don't decide to do. And you want to celebrate the people around you. Looking at someone else's success and celebrating that and celebrating with them and telling them, yo, you
Yes.
did a good job. I
Yes.
think you should do da 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 da. Don't worry about if they're further ahead than you, because you're right where you need to be and they're right where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't compare. Don't let comparison kill the message that you were sent to bring to someone else
Right.
and have you compromise what God has put for you. Because guess what? As you celebrate for them, in the back of my mind, in the person that told me, I started here. I started with someone telling me that they thought I was on drugs because of my happy disposition each day, my positive outlook on life. There's no way that I've known you this long and you've shown up to work every day and nothing goes wrong in your life. There's no, like, she must have been looking at me like I can't stand her because she's so blessed. And as a Christian, that's what they supposed to be saying.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to draw them in. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
But to look to then have that person get a job, another job, paying more, being, getting a new job. Guess who was the person that went out, bought the cake, the balloons, the card, and made sure everybody came in and celebrated
Yeah.
before she left? You know why? Because in the back of my mind, if God can do it for you, he gonna do it for me.
That's right.
That's why you celebrate
That's right.
other people. It helps you to know, God, you showed up and I know you're going to show up for your girl. What else
That's
do
right.
I need to learn so I can grow into the person to get to my next level? Not theirs,
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe. You know I can talk forever and
No,
ever
it's
and
all
ever and ever and ever.
No, so I mean, you was rolling. You were rolling, and the whole thing about celebrating other people is key. And I want to circle back to something before I kind of sort of feed off of what you just said. But well, actually, after I feed off of what you just said, but I want to hit that point of celebrating other people because it's funny. I was recently on 2 podcasts, and the biggest thing for me in being on those podcasts, thank you, I appreciate that. The biggest thing for me in both of those situations was before I was ever a guest, I was a supporter because I don't believe in fandom. I don't believe in fandom. I believe in support because I always say support keeps you grounded. Fans just keep you cool while you're hot. So
Say it again, Joe. Say it again.
I said supporters keep you grounded. Fans just keep you cool while you're hot.
Go on, man. Go on.
So, I was a supporter of both of these podcasts before I was ever a guest. And I wasn't looking to be a guest. My thing is like, yeah, in the back of my mind, I was like, it'd be kind of cool if I was on a show. But for me, the lead was I believe in what they're doing.
Ha.
Like that was the biggest thing. I believe in what they're doing. I believe in how they're doing it. And what's interesting is how we're talking about these things like, no, does everything go perfectly on their show? No. But the core of who they are, the essence of who they are as people drew me to their show. And so they were able to embrace the imperfections and empower themselves the next time around because you see their shows get better and better and better because they were willing to pace themselves and grow along the way and realize like, hey, I can do I learned this from the last time that I had this show. Now I'm going to apply it to this show and you saw how they grew in the process. And so it made me really appreciate their shows even more, because I might not have saw it from the very beginning in certain situations, but I was able to see it from a certain point where you saw their growth from show to show to show. So by the time I got on the show, it was like I had already celebrated them so much. I had already spoken so much life into each of them. Like, yo, you are doing a great job. Like, and in one situation, the person was like, I like they even admitted like their speaking voice. They didn't really think that they didn't really like their speaking voice like that. And I was like, nah, your speaking voice is just fine for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, because I think sometimes you can overlook somebody's speaking voice. And that's number one. And then number two, I think we are often harder on ourselves in terms of our voices and how our voices sound than other people are. That's number two. Number three, if people like you enough and they feel like you're professional enough in what you do and how you present the information or the people that you have on your show, they don't care about your speaking voice. That's irrelevant, But I say all that to say that because I had been celebrating them, I had been speaking life into them, I was able to get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's the key when it comes to whether you're a host or whether you're a guest. You have to be able to, as Marion so eloquently said, like you have to be able to celebrate other people and surround yourself with people who are going to help you to grow, who are going to sharpen you, who are going to make you better at what you do. Not just, we keep talking from the perspective of a host, but as a guest, because you got to be a good guest when you go on shows too. It's not enough to just to be a great host. You got to be a great guest.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But the point that I wanted to circle back to really quickly. So in terms of surrounding yourself with people. So I usually don't name people by names, but I'm gonna name him by name today. One of my friends from college, Jason Rivera. When I say this brother helped me so greatly to grow bars and make bars better. When I first started out, two pieces of key helpful hints that he gave me. The first, I would turn away from the camera. I didn't face the camera because I was so used to facing a certain way because I was looking at my computer. So I wasn't looking at the audience, because in the WinDC studio, the camera is set at a weird angle. So he told me one day, he was like, yo, why don't you look towards the camera? Even if you have to angle your chair up towards the camera. When I tell you it changed the energy of the show and how people interacted, like that's what people were used to. Was me turning up towards the camera, even if I was by myself, or whether I had somebody in studio. Now, in studio is a little bit different because I'm looking at that person. But if I was by myself, I turned my chair up towards the camera at that weird angle, but people felt like I was talking to them, with them. That's number one. Number two, so one of the first shows I had on a Jurassic Park t-shirt, and he made the suggestion like, yo, why don't you promote more independent brands? You're an independent music show, independent artist show. So like, where's some more brands from independent fashion folks? When I say that became another part of my identity as a show, I was wearing so many people that I knew who had their own clothing lines that people start seeing it, and then they started supporting those same independent clothing lines after a while because I was wearing them so much on my show. Those two pieces of information helped me to really give identity to my podcast. Like just those two pieces, just those two helpful hints gave me more identity to my podcast. And I was able to celebrate as I was going along. And when I look back retrospectively, I'm able to celebrate the fact that I had somebody in my corner that gave me two pieces of information that changed the trajectory of my podcast forever.
Yeah. So you said you're going to name somebody. I'm going to name somebody.
Okay.
First, I'm going to tell you the two things this person did.
Okay.
When I said I was going to do a podcast, I called this person. I said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I supposed to do this podcast?
Yeah.
They go, well, you need a platform. Let's go through it. Help me pick my platform.
Yeah.
Literally read everything to me because they knew how my mind worked and knew I was so overtaken with what I was about to, the endeavor I was about to embark on, that they were kind enough to go, okay, well, let's read these plans and pick the best plan for you. Let's see what you're looking for in the plan. Just went through everything step by step.
Yeah.
And then this person actually watched my show and told me what was good about my show, and has no idea how he helped to cultivate the confidence that I have in doing this by saying, you just started, but it's like you're just a natural pro at doing this. And ladies and gentlemen, that person is the one and only, never imitated, often duplicated. Because I've seen people try to wear their hat back like that, but only you can do it. It's Joe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And see, perfect example.
Celebrate.
Perfect example. We now look at it. Now we're doing a podcast together because of the ability for us to celebrate one another.
Yeah.
You know, because Marion has done the same thing for me in so many different arenas of my life. You know what I'm saying? Beyond podcasts and beyond music, just period. You know, like if you surround yourself with the right people, and this is divine, this is God. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just something that we decided to do. God decided to put us in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And everything just unfolded from there. You know, like we are living examples of what we're getting across to each and every last one of you who are watching this podcast right now. Like we it's the whole the hair club for men thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not only the client, I'm a president. I mean, I'm not only the president, I'm a client.
I'm a Okay. Because I would laugh off of that for the rest of the day. So don't worry, I'm gonna be revisiting that right there for the rest of the day. But yes, so you know, success, celebrate you, everything that you're doing.
Yes,
it's encouraging, it's motivating, it's inspiring.
Yeah,
sit in remembrance of the things that you've accomplished. Like, wow, especially when you hit a wall and you're like, start to play back. I didn't know how to do this, and now I do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it, and now I do it. And I didn't know, so what we doing? Figure out what to do. Listen, adults, men and women, look for solutions.
Yes.
Boys and girls, look at problems. Be grown. All right, Joe, tell the people how they can contact us.
I love that. Be grown. I love that. That's a great way to look. We grown over here. I love that. So, if you want more content like this, if you want to connect with us, and on a personal level, because the thing is, like, we are cool people. We will, if you have questions, if you have suggestions, you can reach out to us. We are at I Am a Podcast Pro on Instagram. We have a Facebook group, I Am a Podcast Pro with Marion and Joe. Just search it, look it up in groups on Facebook, and join our group. We will gladly let you in. And if you have any questions or suggestions and you want to reach us directly through email, we have an email address, I am a podcast pro at gmail.com. Especially if you have a suggestion for a future show and there's something that you feel like needs to be addressed in the podcast world that's not being talked about. That's one of the biggest reasons why we're here, because we want to be able to talk about a lot of those things that aren't being addressed when it comes to better podcasting. And also, of course, please make sure that you subscribe right here on YouTube to our YouTube channel at I Am a Podcast Pro. Make sure you like this video. Share this content. If you got some value out of this, please make sure that you spread the word. Help us to really grow our community, grow our ecosystem, because it's not about us. It's about y'all.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. It's not about us. It's about y'all. Listen,
right.
We are here to cultivate the person behind the mic.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Because I am a podcast pro.
Pro, P, purposeful, R, resilient, O, outstanding. Go out there and stand out as the unique you that you are. Have a great one.
Thanks, y'all.